open up our eyes and see the reality and open up our mouths and speak about what we see. Not sugarcoating things, not just doing what society deems as what the norm is. So it's like
people tired of the same mundane on the radio. They want to hear what's going on in the streets.
Right.
But
and this is what's going on. This is what's up.
Pull up. You know what I'm saying? That's what I call podcast shows, the pull up show, because the streets is pulling up to the world.
Oh my stars. Oh. Oh my stars.
This the one.
Yeah. Recently my phone been ringing off the hook. Where you been? With the crooks getting money off the.
What's up, everybody? Another episode of Influence Depends. Matter of fact, this is actually going to be the season finale for season 2. Got a really touching, deep story that I wanted this young lady to come out and share with all you guys. I think a lot of people will definitely have a different outlook on life after this story. But without further ado, I just want this young lady, this special guest of mine, to just introduce herself. And, she can let you know a little more about herself. But, go ahead and take it away.
Hello, everyone. Here today on Influence Opinions. My name is Sonia. I'm 32 years old. I'm from Virginia, residing in Camp Springs, Maryland. And I'm here to tell a little bit about my story and influence you guys on day-to-day inspiration on to keep moving forward, whether it be struggling financially with your health or just not knowing what you want to do in your career path, just anything that you've prayed on and it just hasn't worked out for you. Maybe my story will give you a little bit more push to never give up at any point in time in your life. So.
Okay. No, that's real. That's real. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of the people that are watching right now, they're probably like, well, what could she really be talking about? I mean, because she came out here, she looking nice. She got this beautiful little smile. You didn't outdone me. Look at me. I'm looking kind of, I don't know, like a bummy dude. You got your nice fur on, little matching little pack, to go with it. And I'm just like, you really looking really cute. And so I'm pretty sure they probably like, what can she really be talking about?
Yeah, well, thank you. I do appreciate the compliment. But however, my fanny pack right here, that's the basis of my story, this is my heart.
Wow.
So
wow.
We're gonna get back to that. However, I do appreciate that.
Yeah.
Started maybe about early last year, 2017. Going into 2019. Still a little struggle, but we here and I never thought I'd make it here, but I'm here.
Yeah. So you're definitely a survivor.
Definitely.
Every day we keep trying to move forward. So it's like we're surviving, but I wanted to title this episode Survivor. And just always think about when she's telling her story, just think about that beautiful smile of hers and everything. She just touched on something. I don't know if a lot of people really heard her correctly, but in that pack, she said that's her heart. So, as you see, this is going to be a deep story, and so I'm gonna let her take it away. Like how let's go on this journey. So, what actually started? How do we get to that point?
Get to this point. It was a rocky journey, very rocky.
Okay.
So April 2017, I was sitting at work. It was normal work day. And I actually found a lump on my right breast, which I went to the doctor. The doctor said I need to see a breast surgeon. So I said, okay, well, why do I need to see a breast surgeon? And they're just like, well, we need you to get a mammogram. So I said, okay. I was already worried, but, I was like, God, you got me,
Right.
Can't be nothing. Maybe it's just a cyst. Me being a Googler, I Google everything.
Yeah.
So I Googled it, and they were like, the symptoms came up as a cyst. I went to work. I was fine. I said, oh, it's a cyst. I'm going to go schedule my appointment and everything's going to be fine.
Right.
Schedule my appointment. They did say that it was a cyst. So I was like, okay, that's a relief. and they did a needle aspiration. What that is they take a needle, they stick it through, and they drain out the fluid.
Okay.
So that was fine, and everything went okay. I said, okay, well, it's back down to normal. Everything is cool.
Okay.
They told me to come back in a month for a follow-up. Came back in a month, it had gotten bigger. So I was like, this is not right. So she did another needle aspiration. Okay. So I said, well, personally, I don't want to waste any more time. Can you just do a biopsy?
Okay. And
so
biopsy, just so everybody understands, that's when they take like a culture. They get a piece of it and they actually examine it and see what it is. Okay.
Exactly.
All right.
So they did the needle aspiration just to take some of the fluid away. And then they did the biopsy. So I went back to work, normal day to day. And she called me later on in the day. So, and they called once and I was like, oh, I hit the little silent button. Like, I'll call them back later.
Right.
And they called again. So I stood up, I asked my boss, I said, I'm just going to step in. What we had at the building at the time called quiet rooms. Like if you want to do your work outside of everybody else, you can go in the quiet room or take a call or something like that. Right. So I went in the quiet room. I called them back. I'm like, this is Miss Jackson. Like, I'm returning your call. So they're like, okay, hold on. Let me get the doctor. So I'm like, oh, what's going on? Like, right. So she, gets on the phone. She's like, Miss Jackson, you have breast cancer. They didn't sugarcoat it. They didn't ask me to come into the office. They just said, you have breast cancer. And I said, wait, what? So I'm like, you just said it was a cyst. She was like, well, the reason why it's getting bigger is because you have a cyst. However, there's a mass growing behind it.
Wow.
So I was like, oh, I sat there and I didn't cry. I just walked back to my desk and I literally started working. So they called back and I said, hello. And they were like, Miss Jackson, like, we need you to come in like now.
Immediately, yeah.
So I said,
hold on. So I don't mean to cut you off, but that's another thing. I can't imagine what that felt like. So you get this troubling news and then you just go right back to your desk and start working as if it's a normal day.
A normal day. Like, it didn't hit me. Like,
right.
It was just like, maybe she just didn't realize what she was saying. Like,
right.
She don't know what she's talking about.
Right.
I'm just going to go back to work. Like,
right.
So my boss, like, everything okay? I'm like, I literally looked at her for like 15 minutes and said, you know what? I don't know. So she was like, come, in the room and let's talk about it. So I looked at her and I said, she's like, well, what was your call about? And I said, well, I was just told I had breast cancer. And she said, what? She starts crying and I'm not even crying. Wow. So I'm like, why are you crying? She was like, my best friend had breast cancer. She passed away and it's just hard for me and everything like that. So I'm looking at her like, now she really got me like, oh my God. Yeah. Like, this is real. Like, this is really real.
Right.
So she was like, well, and this is the thing about today. Today, I worked in the office environment. I've worked in a call center. I've been an admin. I've been an office manager. I've done anything dealing with paper.
Right. Okay.
Or, phone calls or anything like that. So nowadays, they don't like to hire people on because they don't want to give them the benefits. They want to give you that little bit of time. So I was the government contractor.
Right.
So I didn't have any insurance. So I'm like, what am I going to do? Like, I'm on this contract. They didn't give me basic insurance. They don't cover nothing.
Right.
Like, what am I going to do? So I called my doctor back and I said, hey, I don't really have no insurance. Like, how am I supposed to go about this? They were like, well, we can't do any further testing until you have insurance.
Wow.
So she said, what I need you to do, listen carefully. And I said, okay. She said, come to my office, go on the third floor and go to the front desk and ask them for the paperwork for the cancer state insurance. Okay. And I said, okay, well, what is that? It doesn't cover anything else but cancer treatment.
Wow.
So I said, okay. Did that. They told me it was going to take a month to clear. Okay. So I said, well, what am I supposed to do from a month?
Right.
And they're just like, well, we have to wait. We can't do anything. So I'm just like living like for a whole month. I'm going to sleep, waking up, going to work, doing all this stuff.
Just wondering.
On edge.
Right.
Mind you, the cyst and everything is getting bigger and bigger. I went from like a small B cup to like a D in one breath. Wow. So I was like, oh my God, like this is going to kill me. Like those are my thoughts. Like this is going to kill me. This is it. I'm going to die. Like.
Well, hold on. Because this is deep. So, right now, so they you fill out this paperwork and you're basically hoping that they consider you for this insurance.
Exactly.
It's not guaranteed.
It's not guaranteed, and it's income based. So my main thing is I was making really good money, so I'm like, oh my God, they're not going to approve me. I make too much money. This is for like low income people, and I was like, what am I going to do if they tell me no? I was blowing up the office phone every day. Like, did you get it back? Did you get an answer?
Right.
Like, they're like, Miss Jackson, it takes at least a month. Like, I'm sorry. And I'm just like, well, what am I supposed to do? Like, does cancer make you sick? Like I was making myself sick because I was just overthinking.
Right.
So, you know, and that's the thing with cancer. Like, everybody needs to know, when you have cancer, you don't know you have cancer. Like, I didn't know I had cancer. The cyst didn't hurt. It just was getting bigger. You know, it was just one of those things where it just felt like a knot right there.
Right.
And then when you know you have cancer, it's just like, well, I feel fine.
Right.
I look fine. Like, how did this happen?
Right.
You know? So it just happens. So when they gave me the results, I knew nothing about, you know, cancer. They gave me all these pamphlets, all these books, and I didn't know where to start looking, how to research it. Like, I was just so distraught.
Right.
And everything moved so fast. So once they got the paperwork, I finally got a call like on that day.
Right.
They called and was like, they approved you. We need you to go get a PET scan. We need you to get an MRI, a CT scan. Like, I'm going through all these scans. I'm in there crying, and that's when I actually broke down. When I started seeing the big machines, you know, going through it and sitting after doctor's appointment after doctor's appointment after doctor's appointment. And then finally they were like, this was April I found out.
Okay.
I didn't start cancer treatment until July.
Wow.
So at this time, it went from stage 1 to stage 3.
Wow.
So they didn't want to tell me when I went in for my evaluation for chemotherapy. I was like, well, what stage am I? And they were like, well, and they just kept, you know, beating around the bush. I'm like, well, you know, how many stages are there?
Right.
She's like 4, and I'm like,
so what stage am I?
What stage am I? She's like 3. I'm like,
whoa, yeah,
3. I'm like, how did it get? So the catch is, no one in my family, my mother nor my father's side, have a history of cancer.
Right.
Breast cancer, ovarian cancer, any type of cancer.
Right.
My results came out triple negative breast cancer, the rarest cancer you can possibly get.
Triple negative.
Triple negative, meaning that it's not growing off of any type of hormone. It's not streamed from any type of like estrogen hormones, nothing. So the only option for me was chemotherapy.
Right.
Now, mind you, I'm 32, and they're telling me stage 3, and they're like, well, do you want to risk your life and freeze your eggs so that you can have kids in the future? And I'm just like, wait, what? I'm like, so
you're not processing all of this.
So I'm just like, wait, what do you mean you can't have kids? They're like, well, chemotherapy can stop your menstrual, and they're telling me all this information. And the kicker on top of all of this is my family was not supportive.
Wow.
So, you know, my family wasn't supportive. They're all looking at me like, well, just do what you have to do. And I'm just like, what do you mean? Like, I don't get it. So, you know, me being having a bunch of anger, being just mad at the world, mad at my family, I went through it alone. So what people don't understand is, which I had to learn how to understand, people may want to be there, however, they don't know how.
Right, okay.
So when they tell you, oh, I'm going to help, you know, my best friend, me and her split, we don't talk. She was just like, oh, I'm working, oh, I'm doing this, oh, I'm doing that, doing this. Right. Now, mind you, people see me on my good days, they see me on my bad days. When I started chemotherapy, it was early July. Okay. My birthday's in August. I did chemo in August on my birthday, and the second round of chemo is when my hair fell out. Well, people also don't understand anything. It's just the hair on top of your head. No. Under your arm, your legs, your pubic hairs, just any type of piece of hair you have on your body falls out. Wow. I had my days where I could do things, and then other days I passed out in the shower like 4 times. You know, I lived by myself, so I would go to cancer treatment, and then I would come home. I had nobody sitting in the cancer place with me. I would do it 4 hours straight by myself, drive myself home, lay down, go to sleep. It was tough. So, you know, finally when chemotherapy was over, you know, I was just like relieved. Like, it shrunk. Like, I could literally feel it shrink.
Right, okay.
It had shrunk all the way down to stage 1.
Okay.
And that's when they did the surgery, the mastectomy, and they removed your whole right breast, the nipple and everything gone. When I did that, I had my mom staying with me temporarily. Now my mom is not your typical mother, you know. So she has her demons.
Right.
So
I mean, we all definitely have our demons, and that's why I say this story is touching. I mean, keep listening to it because this is something that all of us need to hear. As far as just being able to support someone, you don't know what people are going through, but yeah.
So I didn't have anybody to reach out to. So I told my mom. I said, "Hey, Mom, I need you right now. I need to go to surgery. I need you to drive my car, take me to the hospital." And they were just like, she was like, "Okay," but she has a drinking problem. So she came, she left. I seen her before surgery. I didn't see her after surgery until I got discharged. And then I called her. She wasn't answering my phone. She wasn't answering the phone or nothing.
Wow.
So I'm just sitting in the hospital, and they're like, "Well, where's your family? Like, where's everybody?" And I'm just like, I don't know. Wow. So she finally comes, and she's cussing me out. Like, I'm sitting in traffic. Traffic's crazy. This and that, and this and that. And I'm like, I just got out of, like, major surgery. Like, right. What?
Yeah.
So, that kind of, like, made me upset. So then I'm thinking I'm okay. I'm like, cool, I'm past everything. Last stages is radiation, which they say radiation, all that do is just make you tired. I can go back to work. I can do this. I can do that. I'm
right.
Good.
Everything's basically done, yeah.
So the surgery was like the easiest part.
Wow.
I thought that it would, had me down for a while, but honestly, I was up. I was only in the hospital for 2 days, and then after that, I think I had moved like a month after surgery. And everything was going good, and I'm just like, yeah, everything's fine. I was like, I don't need my family. I did it on my own. Yes, and mind you, the whole time I'm financially struggling.
Right.
Lost my car twice.
Wow.
I had to, find the money to just get my car back because I had to take myself to chemotherapy. Like, it was just so much, and I called my father, and me and my dad used to be really close.
Wow.
And because of the situation and the circumstances between him and my mother, he took it out on the kids.
Right.
So I'm just like, okay, well, that doesn't have anything to do with us. Like, why are you holding so much resentment?
Right.
So then I started resenting him for not being there for me in the hardest time of my life.
Right.
I have a brother that's doing time. I have a brother that's always in California. Can't really do much. My sister, me and her are not close. Me and my mother's not close. So it was like no one.
Right. Wow.
So it's like finally got through that, and my doctor said everything looks good and you're fine, and if you want to go back to work while doing radiation and you can do it. I said, okay, cool.
So this is like a blessing.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, you done went through these procedures. You had the surgery where they had to remove your breast, but you're like feeling better. They're telling you everything's good, and you're just like, all right, that's good. I'm through this, so wow.
Yeah, so I'm just like, oh man, this is a blessing. Like, thank you, God.
Right.
Praising God and everything. I'm like, yeah, going back to work. I'm going out with
right.
my friends.
Right,
and stuff,
right.
Which that's another topic I'm gonna get on. When your friends leave you through your hard times and come back when you fine.
Wow. Yeah.
Me being blind to the fact, just being happy that I could go out.
Right.
You just go out like, yeah, girl, what you been up to? Oh, I've been up to this and that. Meantime, I've been up to almost about to die. So,
Right.
Yeah. That is just a learning experience,
No
So, I get through that, and then I'm like, okay, so I was like, I can't go back to my old job without the government contract, so that contract was pretty much one and done.
Right, done. Yeah, okay.
So I ended up applying for a job, and as an office manager, got the job, perfect job, like I was just like, yes, making good money, got my own office, own parking space, credit card, and
right.
all type. Don't have to pay my own phone bill, they paying for my phone, like that's what's up.
Yeah.
I'm like, thank you, God. I knew this didn't go in vain, like, I'm like, thank you.
Right.
So I'm going to radiation in the morning, and then I go to work afterwards.
Okay.
So maybe a month into the job, I'm like starting to feel funny. So I'm like, So I go to the doctors, and they're like, well, see the radiation doctor. So I went to the radiation center, and I was like, hey, my chest is kind of hurting when I lay down flat. I really can't breathe. I don't know what that's about. So I looked it up and, Google again.
Right.
So they were like, yeah, symptoms of radiation. So I was like, okay, cool.
Okay.
So, I day to day, I just started noticing like my midsection started getting like bloated. So I'm like, well, maybe it's just what I'm eating.
Right.
Then my ankles started getting swollen, and I'm just like, what's going on?
Right.
So then I'm like, something ain't right. So then I started like breathing. Like if I take 2 steps, I'm like out of breath. Like I can't breathe. I can't do nothing. So I'm like,
wow.
What's going on? So I go to the hospital twice. Went to the hospital the first time, and they're like, oh, you have the flu. Gave me flu medicine, sent me home. Cool. Didn't work. Second go round, I went back to I was still going to work, mind you. Right. I'm like thugging it out, going to work.
Right. But all these things are going on with you, but you still going to work. Right, okay.
So I'm like, so one day I come home from work, and I can't even move. Like I'm just I'm sitting in the car for like hours. So I finally, call my boyfriend at the time, and I'm like, hey, I don't feel good. Like I can't get out the car. And he's like, oh, call Clarence. That's one of our maintenance guys. Because, mind you, I've been in my neighborhood for 6 years. So they all know me around there.
Okay.
So I had just seen him drive by. So I called his phone. I'm like, Clarence, like, can you come around here real quick? So he's like, yeah, I'm about to come right now. So he comes around. He's like, hey, you all right? I'm like, I don't think so. So he's like, okay, what you want me to do? You want me to call 911? I said, no. I said, I'm tired of going to the hospital. They don't know what's going on with me. Like, I'm tired of it. I'm just going to go in the house and get some sleep.
Right.
So he's like, well, get out the car and go in the house. I said, I can't. Like, I can't move. I can't breathe. I don't know what's going on. He's like, I think you need to go to the hospital. I'm like, I just want to go in the house and sit down.
Right.
So he's like, all right. So, he comes around and I put my arm around him. He helps me get upstairs or whatever. And he's sitting in my living room. He's like, I'm kind of scared to leave you right here. And I was like, no, I'm good. So he's like, are you sure? I'm like, I'm sure. So he's like, okay. He leaves or whatever. And then I'm laying down. I'm on the phone with my boyfriend. I'm like, yo, I just really don't feel good. He's like, you need to go to the doctor. I'm like, well, I just got out the car. Like,
right.
I can't. So he works at night. He was going into work at like 3 o'clock in the morning. So I couldn't sleep that whole night. And I'm on the phone with him. Like, I'm crying. I'm like, look, I don't know what's going on. So finally he comes. He ends up taking off, comes, and he takes me to the emergency room. And the emergency room was like, okay, well, sat in there like all day. And they're like, okay, well, you have pneumonia. Pneumonia? Okay. So they give me pills for that, send me home.
Right.
Taking the medicine. It's not working.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay, here we go with this again. So he's like, are you good? I said, no, I'm not good. Like, I'm not good at all. Like, I just don't feel good. So, like, he's getting frustrated with me because, Yeah. He really thinks that I'm, like, joking. I'm not joking. Like, I don't feel good.
Right.
So he's like, well, just lay down. I'm like, I can't lay down. When I lay down, like, I get this dazed and confused feeling. And then I just, like, I can't sleep and I can't lay down. I feel like I'm about to die. He was like, no, you're being dramatic. I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, wow. I'm really not being dramatic. So then I go to the hospital again. I'm in the hospital for a week this time. And they're like, okay, Miss Jackson, your levels look a little low. They're doing all these checks, EKG, all these tests.
And your levels meaning?
It's like my red, white cell count, all that was just low. So I was like, okay. And sometimes when your levels are low, that's a sign of having cancer. So I was like nervous about that.
Right.
So I was like, oh my God, here we go again. So he comes back in the room and he's like, okay, so we figured out what the problem is. You have CHF. I was like, what is CHF? And they're like, congestive heart failure. I'm like, what? So here I go, Googling again.
Right.
So I Google and I'm like, congestive heart failure. All I see is not reversible, can lead to death. And I'm just like,
what is happening now?
What?
Hold on. We're going to take a quick break. Y'all process that, digest what she just talked about, and we'll be right back. Yeah, that's deep. Yeah. That's real deep. What's up, everybody? Hey, look. Make sure y'all watch this video and the rest. And if you like it, make sure you hit that little like button, and then make sure you subscribe. Other than that, keep having those influenced opinions. All right, we're back. So, like I said, this story is so powerful. We're going to get right back into it. Miss Sonia, take it away.
All right, so again, the doctor told me, they were like, you have congestive heart failure. So I'm like, okay, so what's that? So they're giving me all this paperwork, what you can and can't eat, like medicine. So they sent me home off this heart medicine. So I'm like, okay, daily pills, I don't really want to do it, but
Right.
if I want to live, I'm going to, do what
Right.
they say.
Right.
So I go home and I'm taking the pills, and they give me this medicine that's supposed to like release the fluid, which was making my stomach and my, stomach bloated and my ankles swollen. So I'm just like, okay, well, this medicine is not working either. So now I'm getting like, now I'm just like, all right, what's going on? Like, for real, like, these doctors don't know what's going on. Right. They just telling me anything. Yeah. They misdiagnosing me. So I said, okay, I guess, at that point, I was just so tired of going back and forth because, again, my energy level is lower and lower and lower and lower. So I'm like, God, I don't know what you're trying to tell me, or if it's my time, it's my time. Like, I don't know. I'm calling friends. They're like, oh, let me call you back. And I'm just like,
right.
Well,
I like, nobody there. Yeah.
I can't even talk to you because it's like, at the point now, it's like, talk or breathe. Like, those are my options, So I'm just like, I just gave up. So I called my father. Mind you, we had already had outs. He wasn't there during the cancer. So I called him and I said, look, I got congestive heart failure. He's like, what? And I'm like, because the cancer treatment was too strong and it took a hit on my heart. So he was like, oh, well, Sonya, what you want me to do? I'm like, look, I don't need all that right now. Like, just be there, be a father, and I would just appreciate that. He's like, oh, okay, I'll see what I can do. And, I'm like, see what you can do about being a father? Like, come on.
Wow.
So I just left it alone. So I guess he felt bad. So he calls me and he's like, hey, how's it going? And I'm like, it's going. I said, well, I really don't feel good. So I'm just going, what's up?
Right.
He's like, well, I just called and checked up on you. I said, I'm all right.
Right.
Because I didn't want to get into everything that the doctors are telling me was going on because I didn't have enough energy to even express that,
right.
So he hangs up or whatever. He sends me some flowers and some gifts or whatever at my door. And finally, I'm just like, this is it. So I call my ex again. I'm like, hey, I still don't feel good. I don't know what's going on. Can you just come over here? Because I'm scared to go to sleep.
Right.
So he's like, well, I got to work. I can't take off another day. So I'm like, all right, fine. Like, I'm getting frustrated.
Right.
So I go into the hospital again. And this time I'm there for another extended stay.
Right.
So they're like, as you know, you got CHF. At this point, I'm like now throwing up everything I eat.
Wow.
I can't keep nothing down. I have no taste. I can't taste no food. Like, wow. Everything was nasty to me. It was worse than having, chemo. Because when you want chemo, everything tastes like metal.
Wow.
So it's like, I'm like, I know I don't want that. No, I don't want that. No, I don't want that. Stomach hurting, and I'm at work, and they're like, oh, every Wednesday they used to do lunch together, luncheons or whatever. So they're like, Sonny, you're not going to eat? I'm like, nah, I'm good. So they're like, are you sure you ain't ate all day? I'm like, nah, I'm sure. Like,
right.
So I finally go back to the hospital, and they're like, okay, we have CHF, and maybe there's something wrong with your gallbladder. So they ended up taking me to get a cath lab. A left cath lab was where they take a needle and they stick it down in your neck, in your main vein. It's a camera on the end of it, and it goes straight down to your heart. So they can look and see if it's beating, and it tells you the ejection fraction of your heart. Mm-hmm. So when they did that, they came back and they said, I'm sorry to, let you know, but right now your ejection fraction of your heart is at 15%. And I'm like, well, what's normal? They're like, normal is 75 and above.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay, so what now? So they're like, well, we're going to give you a heart medicine that's through an IV, and we'll send you home on that. And then we're going to put a gallbladder, a chole drain in your gallbladder to drain out the infection. So mind you, I'm walking around with bags on now. Like, I got a bag for my gallbladder, a bag for my heart. And it's just like, now I'm just like super depressed. I'm like,
wow.
Home, and
yeah,
I'm just like, really, this is what it comes down to? Like, this is crazy. But I'm still not getting any better. So right. Then I go back to the hospital. They give me what they call a life vest. It's like a wearable defibrillator. Just in case my heart was to stop, it would kick in and shock me.
Wow.
They didn't want to implant a like a defibrillator because of the simple fact is they didn't want to put me under anesthesia because my heart was so pumping so low.
Right.
So basically after that, they almost killed me twice. So they, I had fluid on my lungs. I had a pulmonary embolism all at the same time because my heart was pumping so weak that all my other organs were starting to shut down.
Wow.
So when they hit my back and took the drains out, took the fluid out, they put me on Dilaudid, but they put me on a too high of a dose. So it brought my heartbeat and everything way down. So I ended up having to go to the ICU.
Wow.
And be watched for like a week. So I was in there, I could barely talk, barely breathe, anything, not any of that. So they still sent me home. They sent me back on one of Millerone, which is the heart medicine,
right,
with the chole drain for my gallbladder.
And you got this vest
and
on.
I got this vest on.
Wow.
So I'm just like, this is way too much.
Right.
My boyfriend at the time was just like, look at it as a blessing you're still here.
So he's still being positive. He's being positive.
Give or take.
Okay.
He had his moments or whatever. Like when the doctor would tell me information, it was like never good information. So it would break me down more and more and more. And I'm just like, really? And they're just like, well, your heart's not going to get any better. You're going to need a heart transplant. We don't know how long that's going to take. You've had cancer. We can't implant you with a heart while having fresh cancer like that. You have to be in remission for at least 5 years.
Wow.
So I said 5 years. So I'm going to have to walk around feeling like this for 5 years. And they were like, well, we do have options and you can come into the heart failure clinic and talk about the options. And he was like, because you are at end stage heart failure. So I'm like, end stage, what does that mean? So I look it up again.
Right,
and end stage heart failure basically is when your heart is at the end stages where it's like a transplant or die, basically. Those are your options.
Wow.
So I go home, it's like really, really bothering me, So it's like they put me on depressant medication and, they're just like, well, take these and make you feel better. I didn't feel any better. I didn't want to talk to somebody. I didn't want to do anything, and it's just like, this is it. Like, I'm going to die at home. And, it's like, it's sad because they don't want to do too much because of your insurance. They don't want to do too little because they don't want to get sued. And it's like that balance where I started to notice what, people with internal, illnesses that's battling them every day
Right.
deal with. Because, I heard a lot of people talk about, diabetes.
Right.
The medicine is so high they can't afford their insulin. They can't afford certain things. So I started to be in that category. Like, how am I supposed to afford this?
Stuff.
How am I supposed to get this stuff on a daily basis that I need? Like, how? So, of course, I, applied for Medicaid and I'm going back and forth with them with that. So I'm at home. I'm not feeling good. And then, my uncle steps in. He's not actually my real uncle.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy because back in my younger 20s days, I used to model.
Okay.
And he was one of my old photographers.
Well, you still look like a model now.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so he was a photographer.
He was one of my photographers, like one of my photographers, my mentors and stuff like that.
Right.
So he contacted me on Facebook and was like, hey, is everything okay? Like, I haven't seen you. I know you're battling cancer. Is everything okay? And I'm like, no. And I just started breaking down. So apparently he lived around the corner from me.
Wow.
So he ended up being that person that's like helping me out from day to day and stuff like that. Running around, and he's been at his job for like 30 years. So he had the time to, take off and be there through the week and stuff like that. So my job is like, hey, do you still want to work here or what? You had a lot of days off. I'm like, honestly.
You don't even understand what I'm going through
right.
to have these days off. Yeah.
So I'm just like, you know what? I don't know. I got to talk to the doctor. And they're like, okay, well, just keep us updated. Like, they were really sweet about it,
Okay.
So I'm like, oh, okay. So my girlfriend comes over. She's like, hey, I'm in the area now. She lives in Virginia.
Okay.
Because again, I'm from Virginia. So
right.
She's like, I'm in the area. One of my girlfriends is getting married at the harbor. We're going out there. After, I want to come see you before and after, the wedding. So I said, okay, that's fine. She said, how you feeling? I said, I really don't want to talk about it. When you get here, we can talk it up. But right now, I mean, just enjoy yourself. I'll see you when you get here.
Right.
So she came before. She gave me a hug, and she was like, "Oh, okay. I'm sorry you're not feeling well, but I'm gonna come back, okay?" And I said, "Okay." So she goes to her little event, and then she calls me. She's like, "Hey, you home?" I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "I'm coming up." I said, "Okay." She comes upstairs, and she's like, "You don't look too well. You okay? Are you okay?" I'm like, "No, I'm not okay."
Right.
So I'm like telling her everything that's going on. She's like, "Wow, like I thought after you battled cancer, you was done. Like everything was cool." I said, "Well, when I call people, they're just like, oh, let me call you back. Like I'm busy. I'm doing this. And then they don't call. So nobody knows what's going on." So one of my other homegirls that I went to school with, high school with, reaches out and she's like, "You okay?" And I said, "No."
Right.
She was like, "I'm coming down there like now." So I said, "Okay." Mind you, she lives like an hour and 40 minutes away, all the way in Gainesville, Virginia. So she comes down and she's like, "Well, we're going to start this clean eating and, maybe you should go vegan and let's just start off fresh." And I was like, okay. Went out, bought a book with little vegan recipes and all this stuff. You think I'm doing something? I'm just like, I'm eating like a rabbit now. Okay, this is what it's come to. Because you know me, I love food. Everybody who knows me I love food. So I'm like, okay. She's like, "Well, maybe this will help. It has recipes in here for like heart health and this and that." And she flipping the pages, and I'm just like,
right.
Okay.
So the whole time this is going on, you still got this vest.
Still got the vest. Still got the 2 drains, or the drain and the medicine.
Right, and you're still at the point where they're saying your heart is only 15%, basically.
Yeah. 15%.
So now you're just trying to find, or people are assisting you, helping you, just to see how maybe you can get your heart back
up to normal, right? Because they're like, it's not. They say it rarely happens to where your heart can like rejuvenate itself, but it's very rare.
Right.
So they're being optimistic, like, "Oh yeah, we about to get
hopefully,
you eating right and this and that." So I'm just like, okay, cool, we could give it a try.
Right.
Can't hurt. So
I know, right? You at that point where, I mean, that's what I say, and just like how your girlfriend said, "Wow, you already just went through this one battle." So that's the big thing. You didn't went through this one battle, and now you at this point now where you're like, what is going on now?
Exactly. So I'm just like, okay. So she, my girlfriend comes back from her little engagement that she was doing, and she's like, if you ever want to get out, just come to my house. I'm having a travel party. And I'm like, "What is a travel party?" She was like, "We sell like packets so you get discounts when you travel and this and that." I'm like, "Do you see me? I ain't traveling nowhere."
Right.
So she's like, no, just to get out the house. We're going to have food and people want to come and play games and it's going to be fun. You don't have to buy anything. I'm just telling you to come down to the house.
Right.
I was like, okay. At that time, it was a Thursday. She said it was on Saturday. So I was like, okay. And I was sitting there Saturday. She's called me. She's like, "You want to come down?" And I'm like, "Yeah. You know what? I'm tired of sitting in the house by myself. I'm going to come down." It took me like literally 5 hours to get myself together, to get in the car, to drive 30 minutes away. Right. Wow. So I'm doing all that. I finally get there or whatever. And she's like, "You okay? You breathing real hard?" I said, "No, I'm tired." So she she has this real comfy recliner in her chair in her house. And she was like, "Well, just sit right here. Put your feet up. This and that." Again, my ankle's still swollen. Everything's still swollen. So her mom is like, "You okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm okay." And she's like, "You sure?" And I'm like, "You sure?" And of course, me, sick or not sick, I love to be fly. So,
right.
I had the pack or whatever. I had it like strapped to like my leg to where like I had on like, some girly sweatpants or whatever, some tennis shoes or whatever, so you couldn't tell. And then I had the actual Millerone pack and like another fanny pack, like a different fanny pack. And it was like, I had a long sleeve shirt on so you couldn't see like the line from it or whatever. So they had no clue.
Right.
And I had the vest on, so they were like, they had no clue. So when I was like broke down or whatever, they're like, "Are you sure you're okay?" I said, "No, man, I'm not okay. Like I don't feel good." And the doctors keep telling me this, telling me that. They told me my ejection fraction was 15%, and I'm looking on Google and it's basically telling me that I'm dying. Like
Right.
So they're like, "No, they just break down in prayer like immediately." So I'm like, she's just like, "Well, everything's gonna be fine. I promise you that." And her mom has like back problems, so she has one of those orthopedic beds where it's like you can put it up, down, and everything like that. She was like, "Go upstairs if you're tired, lay in my bed." So I said, okay, Mom, I'm going to go upstairs and lay down. So I lay down. I slept for 2 days.
2 days?
2 days. I slept for 2 days. I didn't get up to go to the bathroom. I didn't get up to get nothing to eat, nothing to drink. I slept for 2 days. Her mother woke me up and was like, Sonia, you've been asleep for 2 days. I said, no, I haven't. I'm not even getting no sleep. She said, you slept for 2 days. And I was like, well, I'm so tired. I just want to go back to sleep. And she was like, no, you need to get something to eat. Came downstairs and she made me a sweet potato. I think it was sweet potatoes, a chicken breast, and something else that it was on the plate. And then I was eating it, and she was like, you good? She was like, eat all of it, because you ain't ate nothing in 2 days. And I said, okay. Ate all of it. Maybe like 5 minutes later, I threw it all up. And I was like, man, I just don't feel good. So at this point, I'm getting lightheaded, and they're looking at me like, Sonia, and they're just like, Sonia. And I'm like,
you're just out of it.
I'm just out. So they called my uncle, and he came in. He ended up taking me to Fairfax Hospital.
Right.
And then Fairfax Hospital didn't know what to do with me, so they drugged me up. Like, I vaguely remember what's going on. Like, every time I woke up, I hear my friend yelling at the nurse. I see my uncle telling them to take me off the morphine, and then I just go right back out. Like, I remember my brother's best friend coming in, bringing a bag of candy because he didn't know what was wrong with me. Like, I see my girlfriend in the corner just scared, like, eating candy like her life depended on it and stuff. So I'm just like, what in the world's going on? Like, because at this point, I'm drugged up. Like, I don't feel nothing. I'm just feeling good. Like, what's going on?
What's
going on? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So, you know, my homegirl Candace was like, I looked at her and was like, oh, hey, Candace, you just got here? She said, no, Sonia, I've been here for 3 days. I was like,
3 days?
I said, 3 days? She was like, yeah, I'm about to go home. I'm tired. I'm like, what are you talking about? She was like, you've been asleep most of the time that you've been here. And I'm like, what's going on? So my uncle's looking at me and he's like, you know, we're trying to get them to, they want to do another right cath and all that stuff. They have none of my files there. Everything is at Washington Hospital Center. So I'm like, okay, I'm not doing that again. I've already did that. I don't know. I feel tired. I just want to go back to sleep. So they just injected me with more morphine and Dilaudid. So at that point, they was like screaming at the nurse, and it was just so much going on. So next thing I know, they come in and they're like, we're about to medevac you to Washington Hospital Center. And I'm looking at him like, huh? Like, they're like, we got to take you off the pain meds. We got to take you off all that stuff and get you over to Washington Hospital Center. So my uncle's like, Sonia, you know, you about to go in the helicopter. Are you excited? You know, just trying to make me
feel a little bit better.
Feel a little better. And I'm just like, I mean, I guess, like, you know. So from what I remember, the flight was like, you know, the helicopter was literally like only 5 minutes. Like,
right.
If that.
Right.
So I finally come in and they hook me up in, you know, the ICU. And just to fast forward the story up a little bit, you know, finally they called my father. My uncle called my father, like broke down to him. My dad, you know, I guess he came out. He felt bad. He came out. And I'm sitting there and everybody's trying to figure out what's going on. The doctors are giving me wrong meds. They just giving me whatever they want to give me. Like, they not coming back in the room. Like, I can't make it to the bathroom. Like, I'm throwing up on the floor. Like, it's just so much going on. So, like, my best friend came out from Kansas, and she's there. I don't even remember
Kansas?
her. Yeah, I don't even remember her coming. Like, I seen her maybe, like, she said she came up there 3 times, but I have vaguely.
Right.
You know, vaguely. And then one of our childhood friends she came with, and it's a guy. And I don't remember him being there. And it's just like, wow. And then I remember one big conversation where I broke down crying. And they said, you know, we got one other option. And this is your only option besides death. And I was like, okay, what is that?
Right.
So they're like, you know, we have a machine that's called an LVAD. I'm like, what is that? And they're like, it's called a left ventricular assist device. It assists the left side of your heart. And it pumps it for you, and it lets you live a regular life, you know, and feel normal until we're able to get you a heart transplant. And I'm like, all right, cool. You know, you just put it inside, and it's like that. It's done, one and done. And they're like, no. They're like, it's a controller they're gonna put a pump in your heart that's gonna go through your heart. Like, basically, this is your heart. The pump is in your heart, and it's like beating for you. And then there's a cord that comes out of my stomach that goes into the fanny pack.
Wow.
So basically, it's 2 batteries connected at all times. batteries last between 6 to 7 hours each. So maybe like 14 hours of battery. But you get 8 batteries and you just rotate them off the charger. And so I'm just like,
hold on. I can't believe that you just here and you're smiling and you just,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Just hearing all of this stuff that you've been through, and man, I mean, I don't know. This story is like inspiring to me.
Yeah.
But, you know, go ahead.
So I'm just like, I'm not walking around with no batteries. Like, I'm gonna be battery ran. Like, I'm just not understanding that at all. Like, they're just like, you know, well, the pump isn't battery ran. Like, we're not that advanced in technology yet to where everything is with, inside your body. It has to be ran outside your body. And I'm just like, wait, what?
And at this time, you're how old now?
I'm 32.
Well, at the time when all of this...
Oh, I was 31.
31 years old.
Yeah,
wow.
I was 31. So I was just like, so I'm crying, and then they're just like, well, is it a yes, Miss Jackson? Is it a no? Because we need you to sign off on the paperwork. I'm like, no, I'm not signing no paperwork. My dad's over there crying. My friend's over there crying. Like, she over there eating sugar cookies. And it's funny because after I got better, my dad was like, your friend wouldn't even share the cookies. I'm over there nervous too. I'm biting my nails and she eating up all the cookies. And I'm like, oh, I don't know anything about all that,
my goodness.
So, they're just looking at me. They're like, I hope she chooses to live. They're like, if you want to die, then we'll just leave you in the hospital and you can, live out your last days. But if you want to live and you choose to continue your life, then you need to sign these papers so you can get this device,
Okay.
So I said, you know what, I'm crying. I'm like, all right, fine, but I don't want to sign. I'm too weak. So my dad signs for me. And
wow. Matter of fact, you know what? We're gonna take one more break. Let that sink in. You at the point of either do this or do that. Just think about that. We'll be right back.
Hey YouTubers, this is Sonia on Influence Opinions. If you like this video, you can subscribe below. Follow the story, follow all episodes. The show is dope. If you want to follow me, I'm on IG at Sonia Strong _23.
All right, we're back, and like how y'all see, this story is very, very, very deep and touching. But we're back with Miss Sonia, so go ahead.
So, just back to what I was saying. I'm in the hospital. They're giving me a choice, basically, to live or die. And, you're either going to sign these papers and you're going to live out your life and you're going to do the rehab that needs to be done and all this stuff. So all I hear is just artificial heart. Like, I don't hear anything else.
Right.
And I'm just like, what? Like, I can't, like, what? And they're just like, oh, I'm like that. So, like, after they about to wheel me into surgery and stuff like that, they're like, are you okay? You nervous? You scared? And I'm just like, I don't really know what to think. Like, I'm just crying. And my dad, walks down with me. My uncle walks down with me all the way down to the operating room. And one of the nurses, he was like the best nurse. I don't even remember his name, but he was just like awesome. But he's like, I'm not a big prayer, but right now y'all have inspired me. I'm just gonna pray. Like he's like, I don't know what else to do, but I'm just gonna pray. Right. So him, my dad, and my best friend, and all of them get around. They just praying and stuff, and I'm just like, oh my God! Like, I get in the operating room. They're like, Miss Jackson, when you wake up, you're gonna feel still bad, but you're gonna get better. And I'm hearing it, but I'm not hearing it. So after the surgery, I don't remember much.
And so, because I don't think we touched on it, so the surgery is for?
The surgery was to put in the left ventricular assist device.
Okay.
Which is open heart surgery.
Okay, so they had to perform open heart surgery.
Open heart surgery. So, when I wake up, fast forward to when I woke up, I didn't know where I was. I was scared. I didn't see anybody I recognized. And then they told me, well, before I get to that, I punched the nurse in the face.
Wow.
I didn't mean to. I didn't know, they had me all doped up and stuff. So I punched the nurse in the face. I was like, I want to go home. Like, I'm tripping.
Because you don't know what's
going on. Yeah, like, I'm like really gone. Right. Like, I'm going home. Like, I'm trying to get out the bed. I'm doing all this stuff. Like, they're like, no, Miss Jackson, you can't do that. Like, you hooked up to so many things. And, I mean, as you see, I have these scars on my neck right here. They had lines going through my neck, through my stomach, through my veins, through my legs, like everything.
Wow.
So, and then like I still had all the fluid on me. So like my body was just like really heavy.
Right.
So, punched the nurse in the face. So long story short with that, they're like, you've been in a coma for 3 weeks. Today, you know, every time you wake up, they're like, if you go to sleep in the hospital and if you've been in a coma, they'll come in and they'll say, today is December, blah, 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 2018. The president is, your name is, and they just repeat that to you every day. So
Hold on. So this is what happens if you're in a coma, you say?
I was in a coma for 3 weeks.
Okay,
yeah.
so you was in a coma for 3 weeks, but this is what they were doing while you were in that coma.
No, not when the coma. When you wake up. When you wake up, I'm looking around and I'm like freaking out, and I hit the nurse. The nurse went and got the doctor. It was other nurses. They calmed me down.
Right.
And then they were like, Sonia, you're in the hospital. You had open heart surgery. They had the bag sitting next to me, so they were like, this is your heart. This is the left ventricular assist device. Didn't even remember getting the surgery. Right. So I'm like, left ventricular assist device. What is that? So. And they were like, today is blah, blah, blah. Mind you, I had a breathing tube in too, so I couldn't talk. Wow. So I'm like, I'm just looking around like, and I'm like coughing because I feel this thing in my throat. And it was just all the way like, I was just like, oh my God. Like, so I'm just like, what is like going on? So then finally, like they gave me some medicine to like make me relax. I don't know what it was at the time, but so my dad finally gets there and he's like, Sonia, you've been in a coma. You were, you didn't wake up right away from the surgery. And, they told us that you were stable, but you weren't out of the woods yet. And, he just started talking to me. So here I am like trying to talk and I can't talk. So I'm like asking him for paper and a pen. And I'm just writing and stuff. And I'm just like, what is going on? So he's just like, just stay calm and, let them do what they need to do. And I'm like, let them do what they need to do. Like, I'm writing on the paper, like, I'm scribbling on the paper, like, screaming at them and stuff. And I'm like, what? Like what? Yeah. So, they had put me on this medicine called Seroquel. Mm-hmm. When I tell you it had me hallucinating, it had me, like, sleeping. Like, basically, Seroquel is a horse tranquilizer. They use it for people who have mental issues. Like when they zap out, they like hit them with that. So my best friend was like, y'all don't think that y'all giving her too much of that stuff? Like, that she was like, 'cause she reads up on stuff a lot. So she's like, it says here that for a person just to go to sleep off of it, you're supposed to give them this normal dose, but you're giving her this dose, and you guys are just cold putting her out. Right. Like, so this is what she's telling me after I'm out the hospital and all this other stuff. So she's telling me what's going on. So, she's just like, I don't think, like, my dad is coming up there and, like, they're changing the procedures and they weren't changing my bedding. I found mold on my food. Like, it was just so bad. So I'm just like, oh, my God, like, please get me out the ICU. And I wasn't sleeping. So they were like, ever since we told you were in a coma, like you won't sleep, you've been up for 72 hours. I started like hallucinating. Like, I remember like it was yesterday. Like I was looking at the TV, but the people weren't people. They were like skeletons. And I'm like, what? So I'm like rubbing my eyes and looking at the TV and I'm like, what in the world? So then I'm like tripping. And then I just felt like I was in like a whole nother world. Like, like I see people walking by, but the whole hospital was like
zombies or something.
Like this, like completely silent. Right. So I'm like, and then the nurse will come in and she'll talk to me, but it's like she's on mute. And I'm like, and they're like, and she's like this, Miss Jackson. Like I can see her mimicking what she's saying, and I'm just like
you can't hear
like
her.
I can't hear her.
Right.
So I'm just like, this shit right here is wild.
Right.
So I'm like, let me just lay down and go to sleep. Right. So when I try to go to sleep, my mind is it's constantly running. Like if I go to sleep, I'm not going to wake up. Right. So my mind is not letting me go to sleep. Mm-hmm. So it's just like a constant battle. So then they're like, the nurse is like, I'm tired and this and that. And I'm like, what are you tired for? Like, you ain't even been here that long. They're like, we've been here with you because you won't go to sleep. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? Like, I slept. So my friend is like, Sonia, you've been up for 72 hours straight. Like, you will not go to sleep. Like, they're trying to get you to go to sleep. And I'm like, you just won't go to sleep. I'm like, what do you mean? I went to sleep. Like, I'm just battling with them. Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
They're like, no, you did not go to sleep. You went to sleep for like 10 minutes and you popped back up. Like,
right.
So I'm just like, all right, you know. And at this point, I still have the breathing tube in. Had the breathing tube in for 2 days, so I keep writing them like, look, you gotta take this tube out. Like, I feel like I'm choking on it.
Right.
They're like, no, your lungs are not, you know, strong enough for us to take it out. I'm like, look, take this out. Like, take it out.
Right.
So they're like, no. So then the doctor finally comes in and was like, do you think you can breathe on your own? I'm shaking my head like, yes. So they try to take it out or whatever. They take it out, and then like you have to cough while they pull it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just got kind of like keep coughing and stuff like that. So then they were like, are you sure? And then they try to put it back in. And I'm like, no, just let me get all the phlegm like out of my throat, you know. Mm-hmm. It was a lot, like, you know. And then they kept me on the Seroquel. And then my dad was coming up there and he's like, man, my daughter is like zombied out. Like, yeah, I need to take her off this stuff. And they're like, well, she won't sleep. And he's like, well, maybe she will sleep if y'all take her off of the stuff. Like, you know, y'all giving her too much.
Right.
So they're like, you know, well, she's going through these ups and downs. So they brought in a therapist, like a psychiatrist.
Right.
So the psychiatrist is like, well, she's going through her ups and her downs. And right now she's in her ups. When she comes down and once she gets to the level, we'll take her off the medicine. So my dad's like, that doesn't make sense. Like, I don't get it. So he like explains it to him. And then I guess he felt like that was like right. So I'm sitting there crying like, Dad, please, no. Like, tell them to take me off this stuff. Like, I really don't feel right. Like, it's messing with me. Like, it's messing with me, not in a good way. Like, please. And he's like, Sonia, please just listen to the doctor. I'm like, no. I'm like, got tears running around my eyes. I'm like, no. So, like, me and my dad always had, like, this bad relationship ever since him and my mom got divorced. So, we're in the ICU, and he's just like, you know, why do you always think that I'm just trying to be a certain way towards you? Why do you paint this picture to everybody that I'm like a monster? And I'm like, because you are. And he was like, no, I'm not. And I'm like, yes, you are. So we in the room like arguing. The nurse don't even want to come in because we just going at it. So, you know, he's just like, you know, well, I didn't know. I was like, well, you won't know because you stuck up so far up your wife's butt. Like, you know, you don't even care about your own kids. You just trying to restart your life, not caring about your old life with children involved. You know what I'm saying? We're not children anymore.
Right.
However, you know, you stepped out in a very important time in our life, which is us going out into the world on our own. Right. You know, so it's just like, I have no respect for that. And he's like, you know, I'm here right now, and can we just, you know, rekindle our relationship and start over because I almost lost you, and it's an eye opener. And you know, it was worse for me because my dad has a hospital phobia, which I inherited hospital phobia, and I had to be there for 4 months.
Wow.
So I'm trying to explain to him. He's trying to explain to me why he has to step out every 5 minutes. I'm trying to explain to him, like, I want to step out every 5 minutes, but I can't, you know?
Right.
You know, so I had to learn how they took off, as far as the fluid, they took off maybe like 5 liters of fluid off of me. And they was giving me Lasix, and it makes you pee out all the fluid.
Right.
When I tell you that was the worst, like, it's just like every time you turn around, like, you get back in the bed, you gotta pee. Now, mind you, I had to do therapy because when you don't use your legs for a while, you gotta exactly. So they was trying to put me through therapy with my legs. Like, my legs was like this big, like huge. Wow. So I'm walking around, and I'm just like, they feel like weights to me.
Right.
You know, so I'm just like crying, and you know, PT's like, come on, Sonny, you got it. Like, I had to learn how to rewalk. Like, that's no joke. Like, you know, you see it on TV every day and you don't think about it. You're just like, well, how you, because you walk every day, you're just like, well, how can you just not walk? You know, like, that just don't even make sense. Like, now it's like, I want to walk everywhere. Like, I will walk to water from my house. Because the 3 weeks that I was in that coma and the time that I had to work these muscles back is extremely hard. Like, extremely. So, just fast forward, you know, they finally, it was just a real battle in the ICU. Like, they have so much going on, and they have so many patients that everybody doesn't really get that one-on-one time. And, you know, I couldn't register that I had artificial heart for a while. And, you know, I would just get up and try to go, and it would yank, and it would hurt. Like, it was so much. So then finally that I got up on the heart floor. It was a little bit better, a little bit more freedom and stuff like that. And just to be a little bit more elaborate about the heart pump, it's 2 batteries at a time on a controller, which is like the main computer device. When I go to sleep at night, to make sure my batteries don't drain and I don't die in my sleep, I have to plug it into the wall, and it pulls from the electricity from the wall. So it's literally like I'm a robot, but not really,
Wow. Yeah.
So, just to show y'all, because a lot of people don't know what it looks like, so I'm going to just show y'all real quick.
What you about to show us?
Yeah, I'm going to show you. So, I put this in this fanny pack,
okay.
Because you know me,
right,
still got to be cute.
Right.
So, this part right here, I just tuck it. So, this is actually the cord that goes in my stomach. The pump is like under here, through my heart. And then it comes to, this is the first battery.
Okay.
And then this is the second battery. So here it has like the indicator light. So I have 4 batteries here and 2 notches there. So it's kind of like a cell phone, And then this is the main controller right here. So this is the drive line. This is what keeps me alive right here. So if this was to be unplugged, my heart would stop.
Well,
right here.
Sonya, let's just put that thing back inside there. I don't want anything to happen. I mean, this is deep, though. Yeah. This is deep.
I was just going to show you. So on the controller right here, you can see it's showing you that my heart, they have it running at 2460 RPMs. And this is this kind of fluctuates right here. This is just showing how many liters of blood is like flowing through the heart. And then right here is how much wattage is using to run everything, or whatever. So this is what I go through every day. Every day. And when I shower, this is the reason why I put it in this bag, because it's waterproof.
Okay.
I just kind of unclip it, put it on my shoulder, wash it up, get out. Can't really do my water activities like I used to like I can't go swimming or anything like that anymore. So it's an adjustment.
I can believe it.
But at the end of the day, I'm very grateful to still be here.
Right.
To be able to say, living my life day to day. I smile, I joke, I laugh, because you don't know when your last chance to do that is going to be. For me at least. So, that's exactly like what I go through on a daily basis. And my main goal here today is just to let the people know that, one, when you have cancer, ask as many questions as you can. Make sure you have a support system, because that's where you will fail. Support system is everything when it comes to cancer, because it's more mental than anything. And if you're worrying about not having nobody there for you at the times that you do need them, it's going to stress you out even more. It's going to make your life even more miserable, and the cancer battle even harder. And as far as when they tell you that they're going to give you chemotherapy, which I didn't get a chance to do because they didn't really give me a lot of time, because my type of cancer was so aggressive, research when you do that chemotherapy, because it may not look like it's destroying you on the outside, but it's definitely destroying you on the inside. And for it to take my heart and hit it so hard on top of radiation, I feel like if I had a better support system, I probably wouldn't be here in this predicament. However, I am, and I just make the best of my situation. That's really all I can say,
I agree. I mean, like I said, all of this is deep. And, like I said, I just know that this story is very touching, very deep. It's just awesome to have you here, to have you smiling. I think all of the people will always remember your smile. I mean, it like I said, it's one of those things where I can't even really speak about it. I haven't been through your situation. I don't know if there may be some people that are listening that may be going through it, that may have went through it, that can relate. But I think as a people, all of us together, one thing that we can relate to is that if we're able to watch this and listen to Sonya's story, we are blessed. If we wake up in the morning, we are blessed. And that was one of the biggest reasons why I wanted Sonya to come out here and speak. It is a significance. Yes, she did battle breast cancer. It's taken a lot of women on a daily basis. And then to see and hear that she had another battle that she had to go through, it just lets us know as a people that for now we need to stop taking a lot of things for granted. I mean, that's all it is. We just got to stop taking things for granted. We are blessed, and people just need to understand that. So, I mean, Sonya, I'm to the point now where I'm just like, I guess to end it, I guess you can let the people know. I'm pretty sure people may want to know. I don't know if it's a significance to you. It's not that big of a deal, but like if you wanted to let them know, I'm pretty sure people want to know as far as your ex. You were speaking about the ex, and I guess it seemed that he was supportive to certain extents. Some of your friends, you had talked about, you had to cut some of them off. How did that end up happening? Like where you're at now. Okay. I'm assuming that a lot of them are no longer in your life currently.
Currently, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as my ex, he was supportive as far as like certain things, but it got too deep for him. He just, it's to the point where he was just like, I got my life and I got to go to work, and, I can't be there the way that you need me to be there. And it was more like, if you can't support me on going through this, then I don't need you at all. But when I get out of the hospital, I'm fine, I'm dressing, going out and living my life normally, you want to try to trickle back in. No, right. we're not going to do that.
Be there with me through my hardest time.
Yeah, he literally left me at my bedside, you know. When I was going through it in and out of the hospital, when he thought it was just like, okay, they just need to figure out what's going on, he wants to be there. But once the hardball started to play, and it was my heart, and I had to do open heart surgery, and I'm in a coma, and he just vanished. He went back to living his life, everything was okay. And it's same goes for friends. Like friends want to be like, oh man, she's my strong friend. Like I feel like don't try to make a come up on my life. Like, oh, this is my friend Sonya. Oh my God, she has an artificial heart. She beat cancer and she's going through it. She looks great and she's doing it. So I'm like your trophy friend. I don't want to be your trophy friend because you wasn't there when I was going through my hard times and my breakdowns and everything like that. So why do I want you standing by me right now?
Speaking on it.
Yeah, speaking on it. Like, don't do that. So, to everybody, I do have my dark days and my lonely nights, so right now, I'm currently thinking about doing therapy because I can't sleep at night. I'm up all night. Like, my favorite game is Toy Blast. I play that till the sun comes up. So, and it's just like my doctor's just like, your body went through so much trauma that, being in a coma and your mind is just wandering. It's doing the same thing that it was doing when I was in the hospital. Like, I feel like when the sun comes up, it's like a safe mode for me.
Right.
Like, I'm just like, okay, my body can rest. I can go to sleep now. Like, and I don't know why I do that. I don't know why it's like that. But at night, I'm just up all night. And, anxiety and all that. But at the end of the day, I wake up, I smile, I joke, I laugh. I do my daily tasks. Why? Because if I can get this far, then I need to be strong for others who feel like they don't have the strength. Rather, their struggle is less than mine, worse than mine. And, again, like I did a live on my IG, and I'm just like, I met a young lady that was has terminal cancer. And she still looked at me like, wow. And I'm looking at her like, wow, to me? I was like, yes, I have an artificial heart. And yes, I, went through what I went through with no support system. But however, you don't even know when your last days are going to be. Wow. I mean, no one technically knows when their last days are going to be, but you really don't know.
Right.
Like, you can literally not wake up tomorrow because you have to do chemotherapy for the rest of your life. Like, wow, that's hard. So it's just, she's just like, well, I don't have to, do all that stuff that you have to do. And yeah, I'm like permanently bald and, but that's fine. And, they were like, the chances of her living a longer life is honestly more for her than it is for me, because the pump that I have, they say it could last anywhere between 5 to 10 years. However, they guarantee you that the pump is not going to stop, but everybody knows technology is not that reliable. It's reliable, but not that reliable.
Right.
So, pray every night before I go to sleep, pray when I get up, and I live my life to the fullest, to my means of what I can do. But
Right. But you don't let it hold you back.
I definitely don't.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I mean, hey, at the end of the day, like I said, we are all blessed. It's a blessing to have you on here. It was a blessing for you to be able to speak to the audience, let them know what you've been through, what you're still going through, why you are a survivor. Like I said, I just commend you for coming out, speaking on it. I think it's an eye-opening situation. And, other than that, I mean, that's all I can really say. I mean, this story really, really touched me. And I've dealt with a lot of individuals, did a lot of episodes and a lot of different interviews, but this one definitely touches me because I know I've caught myself sometimes where I might feel like things are going bad. And just to hear your story and to just see your smile and to see that you're motivated, it really touches me. Just hearing about your relationship with your father and me having 2 daughters. It makes me look at things in a whole totally different perspective. And I just hope a lot of people really understand that, but I'm actually it got me teared up. And I've heard so many things and it really has me teared up genuinely. This isn't for no cameras or anything like that. Your story is definitely touching, deep, and inspiring. And, hopefully a lot of people pick up something from it. But, to end it out, because you had me crying on here. Let them know your tags for IG, just in case, you never know. Somebody may hear this story and may want to reach out to you.
If you have anything that you're going through, big or small, doesn't matter. You need some motivation. See how I get through my day. Music is my main thing. Like when I feel a certain way, when I'm having a bad day, music always, especially gospel, it just speaks to you in a way that just picks you up to let you keep going forward in your day without any questions asked, knowing that God is there and has your back 100%. But if you want to reach me, it's Sonya Strong _23. You can inbox me, you can write me, you can tell me your story. If we become close, you can call me anytime you want to cry, complain. Complaining, definitely don't really complain as much. Like, I have my moments where I complain, but honestly, you have to count your blessings before you count your complaints. So, definitely do that before you contact me. I'll listen to your issues, but not if they're minute. So,
Right.
Again, that's Sonya Strong _23. Hit me up. I'm always there for inspiration for you to continue your day, and I hope you enjoyed my story.
Yeah, no question. And then just so also, since you've been officially, you are now officially influenced, as we had the brand. I just wanted to present this to you. I had spoke with the American Cancer Society, and I came up with the breast cancer awareness hats. You're the first guest that I've had that has dealt with breast cancer. And I mean, you just been through a lot, but at least as a breast cancer patient, and I just wanted to give this to you.
Thank you.
Since you are now officially influenced, and
I see this.
Yeah, and you are
I'm official now, y'all.
Yeah.
So I just want to shout out one more thing.
Go ahead.
As far as the friend situation, don't close doors on people you don't know, and I'm going to tell you why. When I got out of the hospital, a woman reached out to me through a live video.
Wow.
Looking for me because she was following my story on, don't know how, but she was following my cancer story. And I disappeared because I was going through my heart situation. And she reached out, and when I got out of the hospital, my father had tagged me in the video. Mm-hmm. And she was like, I'm looking for Sonya Johnson. I don't know her name.
Right.
She's going through cancer. She just disappeared off the face of the earth. What happened to that young lady? So I inboxed her and was like, hey, you looking for me? She was like, what happened? So I'm telling her what happened. And she's like, oh my God. So she's like, I want to meet you. She lives in Baltimore. And I was like, okay. She was like, whenever you're free, I just want to come down and, meet you. So I said, okay. So maybe like 2 weekends after that, she came down on a Sunday. Her sister, her niece, and her cousin.
Right.
And they came down. They gave me clothes and household products, toiletries, like anything you think of that would get me through, cards, balloons, like everything.
Wow.
And her sister coupons, so like she like stocked up my house, gave me all this stuff, and I was just like, oh, thank you, I appreciate it. So for like the first 2 months that I was out of the hospital, she would come down every Sunday, spend time with me.
Wow.
We went to the harbor, when I got my little energy up, we went to the harbor, had fun. So to this day, her name is Delvana Smoot, and I love her genuinely. She does so much for me. Honestly, she's like a real sister to me, and she has kids that are around my age. They take me in with open arms, and I don't knock anything from my own family. However, they jumped right in and made me their own. They threw me a 32nd birthday party, didn't even know me. I had no idea. They lied to me and said that her best friend's husband was having a party because they had so much going on, so they postponed it and had it. And I was like, oh, well, just make sure you put my name on the cake. My birthday's August 23rd. So I get there and they're like, surprise. And I'm like, oh my God, they had this huge cake and balloons and food and people I don't even know. Just there to support. And it was awesome. So again, if you don't know people and people want to reach out, don't think, I know the world is crazy and you don't want to do that all the time. But however, when it's just genuine people out here, there's genuine people out here. They're really genuine people out here. So don't close your blessings by slamming the door in people's face that need to be there and open up the doors to the people that shouldn't be there.
Right.
So just know the difference.
Nah, that's real. All right, well, like how you said, man, we'll end it like that. Don't block your blessings. Remember this young lady, and remember, she is surviving, but she is officially a survivor. And we're out.
I'm rolling and blowing, fuck it, I'ma do
I used to cop in the valley, they lob in the alley. I'm on my Vince Carter shit. Trapping in colleges, me and my partners was balling, you wasn't a part of it. My money be talking about money, your money be lying and arguing. My money can buy you a startup kit, since y'all niggas always wanna start some shit.